Mount Gilboa trembled, not from thunder but from the Philistine army surging below. Their chariots roared, spears flashing like a steel forest. Israel's soldiers watched, fear gripping their hearts. King Saul stood among them, once tall and proud, now weighed down by regret and silence from God. The battle erupted. Arrows whistled, swords clashed, and the Philistines pressed relentlessly uphill. Israel's lines broke. There was no escape. Saul's sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua, fought bravely at his side. One by one they fell to Philistine arrows. Saul watched his sons die, his dynasty ending before his eyes. The Israelite army scattered in panic. Saul, wounded and alone, could not flee. The Philistines closed in, their victory shouts echoing across the mountain. Saul's reign, once full of promise, was ending in tragedy. He stood surrounded by the fallen, the weight of his failures crushing him. The nation's hope faded with the setting sun. The ground was slick with the cost of disobedience. Saul's story was nearly over. The king who had lost his way now faced the end alone. The Philistines' cheers were his requiem. Israel's first king was about to fall. The mountain bore witness to the end of an era. The silence of God was deafening. Saul's final battle was lost. Darkness settled over Israel. Saul, bleeding and broken, leaned on his spear as the Philistines looted the dead. He could not bear the thought of capture and humiliation. He called to his armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and end my life before they do." But the young man, terrified, could not strike down his king. Saul realized he was truly alone. With grim resolve, he fell on his own sword. Israel's first king died by his own hand, his dreams bleeding into the earth. The armor-bearer, seeing Saul dead, took his own life beside him. King and servant lay together as the Philistines reached the summit. They found the bodies and shouted in triumph. The king of Israel was dead. The Philistines celebrated, but they did not know the story was not over. A dark chapter had ended. Israel's future was uncertain. The battlefield was silent, save for the victor's cries. Saul's reign ended not with glory, but with sorrow. The cost of disobedience was complete. The king's crown lay in the dust. The nation mourned, but a new story was about to begin. Hope would rise from the ashes. The Philistines desecrated Saul's body, displaying it on the wall of Beth-shan. News of this shame reached Jabesh-Gilead, a city Saul had once saved. Grateful and loyal, their bravest men set out by night. Risking their lives, they retrieved the bodies of Saul and his sons. They brought them home, burned them to prevent further dishonor, and buried the bones under a tamarisk tree. The people mourned for 7 days. In a time of failure, the men of Jabesh-Gilead showed true loyalty. They honored the memory of a fallen king. Their courage stood in contrast to the nation's defeat. Even in death, Saul was not forgotten. Kindness repaid kindness. Honor endured when all else was lost. Saul's downfall was rooted in disobedience. He chose his own way over God's command. When he needed guidance, God was silent. In desperation, Saul turned to forbidden practices, seeking answers from the dead. His failure was not just in battle, but in heart. God removed the kingdom from Saul and gave it to David, a shepherd boy turned warrior. While Saul's story ended in tragedy, David's was just beginning. Israel was scattered and afraid, longing for a true leader. The elders came to David in Hebron, remembering his courage and God's promise. "You will shepherd my people Israel," God had said. The time had come for a new king. David was ready, the people were ready. God's plan moved forward even through loss. A new era was dawning. David, once a fugitive, was now Israel's hope. The nation would rise again. The throne awaited a shepherd king. Israel's future was in God's hands. David's first act as king was to capture the fortress of Zion, making it the city of David. From this stronghold he united the tribes and built a powerful kingdom. Mighty warriors flocked to his side, men of courage and faith. Their legendary deeds inspired the nation. Day by day, David's army grew, drawn by God's favor. Finally, all Israel gathered at Hebron to anoint David as king. The people celebrated with feasting and joy. Division and sorrow were replaced by unity and hope. For 3 days Israel rejoiced. A shepherd had become king. The nation was one. Under David, Israel would reach new heights. Joy returned to the land.